It's a wonderful day anyway. I think today is Guru Nanak's birthday also, Kartik Purnima.
Yes.
It's a wonderful and it's also I think Satya Sai Baba also, this Shirdi Satya Sai Baba, and it's also the day on which he has given the blessings, and it's also very hugely celebrated. Near my house there is a Sai Baba temple. A lot of activities are going on. Wish you all a wonderful this day. This is one of the days where Thiruvannamalai, the place in south, is brimming with a lot of spiritual as well as the lot of religious activities. And today, really, I think you will get sort of the vibration if you happen to be in Thiruvannamalai any day or any Purnima day, any full moon day. If you go there, the vibration is totally different. You will feel it is not the same as you would be anywhere else. And the great Mahans like Ramana Maharishi and all had been there. And Seshadri Swamigal was also there, one more Seshadri Swamigal, and a lot of other the great realized souls, they have been there. I think with that, because we will also offer our worship to the God of Thiruvannamalai today, and today is Shiva's wonderful day. He has come in the form of Agni today. He is in the Agni Rupa. In Thiruvannamalai, what they do is the entire light is lit on when the Bharani was there. Today is Kartikai. Yesterday, when Bharani is there, that it is being lit, and finally the same light is taken to up hills to light up the Deepam for Thiruvannamalai today. So it is from Bharani onwards. Yesterday onwards, the vibration has commenced. Whoever is there from yesterday throughout the day today, and they will be there tomorrow also, and they also do parikrama. Parikrama is 70 kilometers of wonderful walking.
Yes.
And the people do go by flight. Yeah. See, that is, that is a spiritual experience. When you are there, you forget. So many people are chanting, they don't go without, they are not bothered about anything and all, they go and people are there. All of them are participating. They are all immersed into this. In fact, that's what we will see today also into this particular session of ours. With this, we will having offered the prayer to the Shiva, Trayambakam Vijamahe Sugantim Pushtivardhanam Urvayuram Vandanat Mrityor Mukshiyam Amritat. Here, wherever Shiva temple is there, he is in the form of Agni. If you go and see the linga, I think they will be the sanctorium will be lit very scarcely. There will not be any light, but you will be able to see the Agni form of Shiva today. That is the belief, and in fact, it is happening everywhere. And once again, we will commence our proceedings. Om Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Srimadananda Tirtha Bhagavat Padacharyobhyo Namo Namah. Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stititolayan Niyati Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibhuda Sura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Viparita Mati Prabhudan Vadan Rasya Kritavan Puvidatva Vadam Sarveswaro Haririti Pratipatakam Tam Manandatirtha Munimariyam Namami Pujjaya Raghavendraya Satya Dharmarataya Cha Pajatam Kalpavrakshaya Namatam Kamadenive Sahana Vavato Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विश्विदावहैः ओम शांति शांति शांतिः माण्डुक्य उपनिषदः शान्तिपाठः ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षमिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्रश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति न क्षार्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम शांति शांति शांति. Friends, we have come into the most important aspect. We have completed the second kanda, the most important kanda, the seventh mantra, with the following 10 karikas, Brahmadrishta mantras, which we have seen. And we were into the last two mantras. We also took the, as a sort of, the elaboration of Turiya from Bhagavad Gita, the verse number 9 of chapter 15. 59 is, we also recited, we were also supposed to see the full meaning of that we will see. It is very important. It's not only from the point of view of Turiya, it is in general life in particular, whatever we are doing it in. So the entire Upanishad, what we are trying to find, what we are trying to sort of understand to make our life, the eternal wisdom for excellence in our life, when we are trying to do, I think I would request to mute the mic. I think I'm getting some other noises. If all of us can mute the mic, because the audibility will be better.
So voice is breaking.
Is it? Is it? Now, I think the data card is okay. Are you able to hear?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Yeah.
Earlier it was breaking.
Yeah. So
Now it's okay.
yeah. See, we are trying to find a meaning in our life. So how we are trying to meaning in our life? By having our good qualification and good work experience, good family life, and sort of a good whatever our need, because the properties or any other possessions what we want to have. We are trying to have all this meaning in life. Is it the meaning in life? This is what exactly is being questioned by all the philosophers, all the great acharyas, and all the great men who have gone through this life. What is the meaning in our life? Is it that, because I may be a billionaire, I may be a millionaire, today I am having it, because everyone will be envious of me. I may be some big industrialist or something like that, and I may be something else. Even otherwise, I may be having everyone will feel, because I am having a very cushy life. That's all. That's how people think. That is the meaning of life. Is it that meaning of life? What we are searching for this life? Is it that is going to take us to the final bliss and all? So there is a book written in 1946. It was published. The Search for the Meaning of Life. It was written by one Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl, when he has published this book in 1946, it created a huge impact on the entire community who were thinking, all over the world, because the world was in turmoil. After the Second World War, the countries were trying to come up. Some of the rich nations, like United States and all, they were trying to take advantage of the situation. Even United States and the then Soviet Union and all, they are very powerful. They wanted to take advantage of all other nations. Basically, they wanted to dominate the world. It was a bipolar world. So when it was a bipolar world, is there any discontinuity? Are you audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
For me, it is audible.
Okay. So,
Yes, please.
the bipolar world, because as it is, when it was happening, the domination and all, this gentleman, Viktor Frankl, when he wrote the book, what was the reason for that? Because he was unknown. Basically, he is a psychotherapist and psychiatrist. And basically, like any other psychiatrist and psychotherapist, most of them have come from the place called Vienna, Austria. The German, Austro-German, that particular border is the very fertile soil where lot of philosophers and lot of psychiatrists and psychotherapists like Sigmund Freud have come, who have made a change in the century, impact in the century of 19th century. All of these great people have come. The Viktor Frankl has written that book, The Searching for the Meaning of Life. In what context he has written that life? He was in the concentration camp. He was to lose his life. He could have lost the life any moment. The life is because he was just, he doesn't know whether he will live for the next moment, because he could be put in the gas chamber. He was in the concentration camp like any other Jew. And he was seeing his fellow people who were in the same cell of concentration camp. And he was a well-known psychiatrist, well-qualified one. He was well-respected. He was trying to find trying to observe what is that meaning of life, what we are talking about, because what is the meaning you can find when you don't know whether you are going to be there tomorrow or the next moment. What is that you can think of the life, what you can really search for, what is the purpose for which you can do that, and whereas the life does mean so many things to so many people. Who is trying for an aspiring actor, if he gets a chance to become an actor, that is the meaning of life. The aspiring athlete, he wants to get some medal and he participate in some event, and make a mark, that is it. Like for each one, the meaning of life is different. He wrote Man's Search for Meaning of Life. The individual experience, it makes a lot of difference. The meaning of life to be discovered in the world rather than within our own psyche. It has to be discovered in the world. When you are thinking about yourself, you will not be able to discover it. But when you see the world, when you are trying to put it up, every individual has an innate tendency to search for the meaning of his existence. See, as long as you are living in a normal life, having a because everyday life, taking your food, breakfast, dinner, living a normal routine life, well, if you are satisfied with that, no man would be satisfied only with that. If you are satisfied with that, we are still at a dimension much lesser than what we should be. We have to elevate ourselves to another dimension. The frank, when you are trying to find the meaning of life, a meaning comes from three main sources. The purposeful work what we are doing in this life. Even when we are living a normal life, even in our professional life, even afterwards, what we are doing, does it have it does have a meaning for us. Purposeful life, purposeful work, love and courage in the face of difficulty. He says, finally you find the meaning of life in the courage in the face of difficulty. He was qualified to say he was in the concentration camp. He doesn't know whether he will exist the next moment. Then he took as a challenge, because he's a psychologist and psychotherapist. He was just, because observing his fellow prisoners, most of them were only concerned when they will be set free out of the concentration camp. They were looking for the day, which is almost impossible. Just by thinking about it, even, when the possibility was diminishing, with that sort of, the anxiety only, most of them perished. That's what he said. The fear of that we will not be able to exist, that made them to drive to that point. Of course, concentration camp, we know, because how big a Holocaust it is. More than 15 million people have lost their life in one or two concentration camps only. So when he brought that, he said the meaning of life could be found as a psychologist and psychotherapist. He determined it is not what you have. You are rich, or you are having all the possessions of the world and all your needs are satisfied. That is not the meaning of the life. The meaning of the life is when you are able to face the difficulty, when you are able to overcome. That is the meaning of life. In fact, with that, he brought a concept called logotherapy. Logotherapy is a concept. He was first, propounded by him in 1946 in his book called Man's Search for Meaning. The logotherapy is helping people to overcome, because when I brought this in the context, because when we do that, when we are telling, that because pleasures and, the pain are imminent in life, it will come. You will not be able to ward off. It will come like everyone will have it in some form or other. But happiness and suffering is a choice. That's what we said. It was little paradox. See, you say pain. With the pain, how can one not suffer? That's what a human mind thinks. But if you are able to overcome the pain, this is what exactly he propounded in 1946. If you are able to overcome the difficulty, his difficulty cannot be more than anyone else's difficulty. He was in the concentration camp. He could have been executed any moment, or he could have been put in the gas chamber any time. They were all waiting, when their turn comes. They never expected they will be going out and lead a life. In that context, when a man is forced to his utmost, then he is able to understand what is the meaning of the life. Not, because that's why it said all the poets, all the great writers, they are not writing when everything is fine, everything is available, everything is good for them. They all write when there is a chaos in their life, when there are catastrophe in their life, when they are forced to face some difficulties in their life. The flamboyant crust doesn't give you the inspiration to write a great work. It is the difficulties, the challenges you have to face that gives you. Without challenges, life is nothing. Without adventure, life is nothing. This is what exactly is said. If we lead a mundane life, without, we think, we should not have any problem, we should get our morning tea, breakfast, food, dinner, and see, how are the things, give our WhatsApp, this and that, if we leave, it is an auto process that we said, it's a semi-conscious. It is a semi-consciousness, it is on autopilot mode. You don't need to take any specific effort, it will go on. You don't need to be a trigger to see your WhatsApp, you yourself will see, or a Facebook and all you will see. And you will go take your time, dinner or lunch in time as it is and all. But when you have to...
Again, voice is breaking.
Oh, is it? But when you have to... Are you able to hear now? Is it okay? The voice is okay?
Yes. Sorry, yes.
But when you are able to... when you are able to overcome any of the challenges and stand by yourself, that gives a meaning to your life. With that lobotherapy, he has started curing and it has become a big concept. While we go for that, I just brought this, why this particular sort of, how to overcome the vicissitudes of life, which gives a meaning to every one of us or any one of us, is more important, because that is what exactly the chapter 15.9, the verse which says.
Free side also. The photo free side.
Something like that.
Voice is not heard, sir.
Is it? It's not audible at all?
No.
I have to.
Sound at all.
Some echo.
ಇಲ್ಲ
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರ್ದೋ ಇದಾಗಿದೆ.
I think someone has to mute. I think that is causing little disturbance.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪದ್ಮ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಪದ್ಮ ಅಂತ
ಪದ್ಮನಾಭನ.
ಅವರ ಮ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಅವರ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್.
I think Mr. Narayanan, you have to mute your mic.
Mute your mic, okay.
Yeah. I think now it should be okay. Is it okay?
Now it's better.
Okay.
Now it's better.
Yeah. So here in this context only, why we gave this particular, because to overcome the difficulty and face the challenges in the life is the meaning of the life. This is the very important, not that what we did, because look, I have a house, I have got everything. So, because I take a morning walk, have a cup of coffee, go for lunch, evening meet with the friends. Okay, it's good. This is required. We are all the social animals. We are all purposive animals. We should interact, and that should be there. But above all that, to have a meaning of life, we will have to find that. The Upanishad says same thing. Upanishad says, because what Viktor Frankl has undergone a great sort of a trial of being in the concentration camp, and he has said that. The Upanishad says in so many words. But Viktor Frankl, he is an embodiment of example. What has been said by Upanishad has been lived up to by him. He has brought this concept. And he has said, because this is, he said, because when you are not able to face any difficulty, when you are not trained to overcome that, your ability to find meaning in the life goes off. I think Prabhu is on a call. So that meaning of life goes off. So in this context only, we were taking.
Not muted, bro.
Prabhuda?
Is left.
Oh, yes, there.
He had urgent call, presume.
Maybe a call.
Correct.
Join back.
Prabhuda, can you mute your mic, please?
No, I am muted.
Okay. The sloka number 9 of verse 9 of chapter 15. Last week we saw briefly. So shtotram chakshuhu sparshnam cha rasanam granameva cha. Because whatever we see, sabdaha, sakshuhu, rasa, gandha, all these, jnanendriyas, which gives the input to you, adhishashtam manaschaksham vishayam anusevati. The living entity, whatever it takes, is it's getting everything through the senses. The senses, last week we saw, the senses are not a passive instruments. They are like current day reporters. The reporters don't report exactly what they do. The news reporters nowadays, they add their own views and they report it. Because they have got their own slant of reporting. It doesn't come to you directly. The senses are like that. Senses are passive reporters, but it has got the positive interpreting ability. It gives it your own interpretation. For instance, let us see, you see someone, in a get together and all. So because some lady sees some other lady in the get together, they must have heard. They might not have seen her. They might have heard, because she must be the sister-in-law of someone, and she must have said something through them. It is the information comes to them, and she may be thinking. People may be telling, she is very fond of buying the gold ornaments or something like that. But when anyone sees that lady, immediately they won't try to find what is this lady, what about, why don't we interact. That doesn't come. She is fond of the gold ornaments. That only will come to you, because that is the interpretation given by your mind. You hear about someone, he is too good a man, he will go and help. If you approach him, he will help you. When you meet him, you will have that image. Yeah, he is a good person. You will have a perception, preconceived perception. You will go and meet him. But if someone tells, he is absolutely a worthless man, please don't depend on his words. he will say something, he will do something and all. Even though he is good, it doesn't mean anything bad. Your view will be like that because your mind interprets based on what you heard. So you are not able to see the real person behind that. This is exactly this verse says. When you have all these senses, because it's not that you don't control the senses. You allow the senses to function only as the senses. They should only be the right news reporters reporting what is happening. They should not add anything, no more masala into that. They should not give you anything more than that. That will come only when you don't take the information as you receive it. So because what happens, you get into the internal journey, you get the direct your knowledge. We said mediate knowledge and immediate knowledge. Mediate knowledge and immediate knowledge. The mediated knowledge is through senses. Once you take the immediate knowledges,
Voice is gone.
are you not able to hear? Is it audible? Oh, connection. Is it audible? Is it audible? Hello?
Our Atma Jyoti should glow. No, I am in the same location. Because everyone has got their own choice. ಇದರಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ ಬೇಕಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಈ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಬೆಟರ್ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆದಲ್ಲ ದ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ರೈಟ್ ಹಾ ಯಾ ಯು ಡೂ ಇಟ್
Are you able to hear? Poor internet. Are you able to hear?
ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ರಿ
Hello? Okay. Okay, I have to, yeah. So this is what, because this mantra says, you try to get the direct knowledge. Are you able to get? The voice is okay? Voice is not there? Are you able to hear now?
ಆ ಮೈಕ್ ತರಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮೈಕ್
Voice is not audible? Oh, yeah, volume is full. 1 minute.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಯರ್ಫೋನ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ
ಬೇಡ ಇದರೊಳಗೆ ಬರ.
ಕಾಲ
I think now it should be okay. Are you able to hear?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay. So when you have to get the direct knowledge, that is what, because the senses will have to give you the knowledge only. They don't unnecessarily try to restrict the senses. Be kind to the senses. Allow the senses to give the knowledge, but don't try to take its interpretation. How to do that? That is what, this Turiya, what we are. Are you getting an echo?
No.
Okay. How to do that? That is what exactly we are now looking into this. In the same verse, because the Bhagavad Gita, there is one more verse which is a very important verse. How to do that? See, this 15th chapter gives a sort of how to surrender yourself.
ಫ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ
ನಿಂದು ಫ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ರೀಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಇವತ್ತ
ಹಾ
So how to do that process of surrender? See, surrender, because how to take the direct knowledge, though the senses are giving it, to take it without the interpretation, and how to get through the process of surrender. This is what, we are looking, this entire chapter 15, it tells only that. In the 15, there is a verse number 5, it is a prelude to verse number 15:9. Are you able to hear? Please, idea.
PDF ಫ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು
Reconnect.
ಲಾಂಗ್
It's okay?
ಕಾಲ್ ಬಟ್ everything.
Is it okay now? It should be okay?
Okay, we are able to hear you.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, now for the time being, that's good enough. See, the verse 15, which is telling about the process of surrender, it says, Nirmana moha jasasanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha. There's the first sentence. Nirmana moha. Nirmana moha is basically our ego is preventing us from getting the direct knowledge. The ego is basically where you are attaching yourself to everything. See, like, because we are loving our body, why? We are not separately, because we are loving our hands, it is part of the body. We are loving our fingers, it is part of the body. We are loving our eyes. If there is even a small disturbance to the eyes, we go to the eye surgeon and see. If we have ear, everything, it is part of us. When it is part of us, we are just, because even if by mistake, your teeth bites your tongue when you are talking, you are not trying to punish the teeth. It happens, because by mistake,
Audio is breaking.
Are you able to hear? Again, reconnect.
Audio freeze ಆಗಿದೆ. Overlapping. Prolonged power cut here. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ
Is it okay? Is it audible? Hello? Hello? Is it audible? Shankar, are you able to hear? Undilla?
ಫ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಹಲೋ ಹಲೋ ಅರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮೂವ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ
Maybe.
ಹಲೋ 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 ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ.
Voice is heard.
Are you able to hear the voice?
Yes.
Okay. I think that is better for the time being. Nirmana moha jitasanka dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha. Nirmana moha is the puffed up ego. The ego is so great, that prevents us from doing it. For instance, I will just like to share an instance. It is an anecdote. It is some sort of, it normally happens in India, and it happens when they go abroad, how it happens. A politician in India, if you go to any of the airports, he walks, as if, if he is an MP or MLA or a minister, you can just see as if he walks, he is little different from all other beings. He is all other souls. He walks, someone comes with him, and he walks through and all those. A similar gentleman went to New York. In the New York airport, where he was going, he was being a minister. He has got a special, a diplomatic passport. He has got someone from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who was with him and all. They have closed the gate. The flight was about to commence.
They're not able to hear.
Are you not able to hear?
No.
Now are you able to hear?
Okay.
The flight was about to commence, and he, as usual, being in India, he said, look, who I am. And that lady took back, because she is not used to. Are you able to hear now, or it is getting a problem? And
Yes.
the lady who was in the counter, she got startled. He said, do you know who am I? Then, she is an American. She is not used to hearing all these things. She immediately asked, because then security there, could you please help him? He wants to know who is he. So he will ask, because have you got a passport? That fellow asked security, what is your name written? What is the photograph? Is it not in you? What do you want to know? That fellow pulled him up and took him elsewhere and gave him a treatment, what the Americans normally give. And knowing that he is brown colored, the treatment was little different. So you can't see, because like puffed up ego is being given a right education somewhere else like that. So we will have to see in this world, the puffed up ego will not work. It prevents you from getting the right information. See, if he has walked like anyone else, if you had requested, look, I am late, because the flight has already commenced, would you like me to board? That would have been different. Instead of that, he went and asked, who am I and all, he asked, it's the same thing. What we are asking is, every time we are making ourselves as who am I to every incident and every experience. That is why you are not able to get the right. That is why they said, Nirmana Moha. Mana. In the mana is the mind. In the mind, you just give it up. Nirmana Moha. Don't have the affection towards who you are, what you are, how it is. Because the body itself is different. You come here, and because the body is here, you have to look after that. And then, the experience, whatever your body is getting, your soul is not going to get that. Your soul is more divine. So it is not going to be affected by whether you are a rich, whether you are a pauper, whether you are a minister or whether you are nothing, because the soul has got the pristine, pure entity. Whereas, your entity is all because of what you are considering this life is also only your puffed up ego. The puffed up ego has to be eliminated, then you will be able to get this. In Turiya, when you go there will not be any puffed up ego. Nirmana Moha, nothing will be there. Jitasanga dosha. Jitasanga dosha, sanga is attachment. Jitasanga dosha is, you have almost, because unattached, you have become unattached to the core. Nothing can get attached to you. So even when the pain is there, the pain will be there to the body. Yes, it has to undergo the pain, but you will try to take whatever the actions to be taken, medications or the treatment, you will do it, but it will not give you the sorrow you will have to undergo. Like Viktor Frankl, if he has started worrying, look, I may die any time in the concentration camp, I don't think there is no court of appeal. You are there, you are there, or if you are gone, you are gone. There are only two choices. By mistake, if you are let out, finally you survive and come and write a book on search of meaning in the life. Otherwise, you can't write anything. There is no opportunity for you to write anything. That is it. For instance, let us take the instances. Every day we are reading in papers. In Kashmir, a lot of the encounters take place. because between us and the terrorists come and all those things. We find lot of our young boys, junior commissioned officers, they lose their life. And for us, because what makes us happy, we have lost 10, but they have lost 25. It's only a number for us. We are not concerned about one life, who is just about to come, he has lost his life. Forget about it. If you take yourself into another dimension, even if 25 people are other country die, they are also human beings. Why they should die? Because they have not died for their own cause. They have been, they have to do their duty for their country. They have come and do it. But if you see the professional soldiers, when they encounter, they have got mutual respect. They may treat him as enemy, but he is also a professional soldier who is working for his country. I am a professional soldier, I am working for my country. That is, there no other thing, because it may be whipped up by political and all other things and all. You really see, if you are a professional, that is it. See, I am a professional. If I have a professional in a rival company, I know him, because I will respect him. He has got his capabilities. The army is also a profession like that. And what is the turmoil these people face when they have to kill someone in the encounter. They do it, because they are being charged and they have been trying to do that. After that, when they come up, the post-trauma disorder that comes to PTSD, what they call, all the soldiers, all those great men, if you go to United States, there are a lot of cases like that, because they have all participated in the Vietnam War, Iraq War, and they have seen, and they say, because what I have given, because they would have killed some people, and they would have also been affected, they have also been, had the bullet injuries and all. The post-trauma disorder that comes, when you have to overcome, you really see what is the meaning of life for a human being. This is exactly, because what does in it's for us only, it is a number, we are all happy. We have got lost only 10 and they have lost 20. How does it mean? We have taken it because we are in our drawing room, sipping a cup of coffee. And next moment, if some Flipkart, some sale is going to come, I will be concentrating on that. And if some news comes like today there is no power and tomorrow there is no water, if it comes, immediately I will say, let me fill up the water in all our containers so that I will have water tomorrow. So my thought goes like that, because you have to go beyond that. You will have to go and see the life as it is. That is why he has given a concept in the logotherapy called de-reflection. De-reflection is, we were telling about Shravana, Manana, Nitidhyasana is the way to see our internal journey. The same thing he says, de-reflection in the sense, forget about yourself and put yourself into others' suffering as a whole. Then you will be able to see. For a minute you think, when you read a news, 10 of our people, 10 of our young men has passed away in an encounter, you think of them, all budding youngsters. They had a huge life in front of them. They have sacrificed. Okay, you are also happy, because we have got such a patriotic people. What about you? What is your patriotism? Just sitting in the drawing room and sipping a cup of coffee and taking it as only a news? This is exactly when you are trying to do the de-reflection, he said. Viktor Frankl has suggested this terminology called de-reflection. The de-reflection is when you are able to forget, don't put yours, because why you are afraid, because when you hear, so many people have passed away in this or because of that disease and all, you are trying to put yourself, if it happens to me, what happens? Then you are putting there. Don't do that. See others, because take out yourself. De-reflection is, don't think about yourself always. I can't bear, the power is not there for half an hour, but in Sudan, the people don't have power for 6 months, 7 months. They don't have even food. The starvation is there. What about them? Are they not part of this earth? Are they not part of this earth? When you take yourself to that dimension, that is different. If we don't take ourselves to that dimension, we are in LKG or preschool. We are still talking about Baba, Black Sheep and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We have not grown beyond that. When we are reading a mundane life, you have to go beyond that, go past that. That is where you will find the meaning of life. The news is not a simple printed newspaper just as an item of statistics. It is the lucent lines of a young man's life. This is exactly, once you try to de-reflect, because this is what suggested by him, by Viktor Frankl, who has undergone the turmoil himself at the highest level in concentration camp. In the logotherapy, what he says is, first thing is de-reflection. Once you see that, whatever difficulties you are having is, because what is that, when person in Sudan, couldn't take food and he is dying of starvation, that about 100 million people have passed away in Africa in the last 25 years. What about we? Because God has given me everything and I'm here. What is that I can do about whatever is little possible at my level? That is where you are coming about. Nirmana moha, what we called about, that is there. The ego is not only thinking about yourself into that, going beyond that as suggested by de-reflection. The de-reflection has exactly been suggested in this 15.5 verse. Once you do that, Dvaita, what we call is, Dvaita is me, mine and they themselves. That is Dvaita. When you say it is, once you take out me and mine, you are able to see, you are able to do the de-reflection. That is Advaita. Advaita is not the philosophy, which is being talked about. It is the feeling, because you may have Beda. We may be, see, the Tattvavada suggests, because it is the Beda. Beda will be there, but the Beda Bhava should not be there. There will be differences. We are all different. But the difference is in this you will have to de-reflect. That is why Srimad Madhvacharya, when he said, what is the highest dharma in this world? He said, Nana Janasya Shushrushu Karmaha. Shushrushu is doing, helping him, assuaging him, helping him. In a normal, because if some person is there, you try to bring down his the concerns. You try to help him in whatever little way. That is to prove that you are a human being. That is the first karma you will have to do. That is your the duty towards the kingdom of God. So this is exactly Nirmana Moha Jitasanga Dosha Adhyatma Nitya. That is what Adhyatma. Adhyatma is, I am doing Adhyatma, I am reading books, I am read Mahabharata and I have heard lectures of Ramayana. That is, you may do, I am doing this puja, that puja, do all those puja. But if you don't do, give up this puffed up ego and de-reflect. Don't, be surround yourself. It is not a self-centered detachment. It is a selfless detachment towards the world. Once you have a self-centered detachment, everything, even, I wanted a cup of coffee, no one has brought me right from morning, then you will be only cribbing on that. That means you are not only in LKG, you are going to preschool and you are not even eligible to be taken in the preschool in philosophical level. You will have to go into the dimensions higher. This is exactly, when Turiya we stay about, from third dimension we are supposed to be in, we are trying to elevate ourselves to the fifth dimension. That is what all the acharyas say. When all the acharyas says it is the fifth dimension, is Asparsha Yoga. Asparsha Yoga, because Shankaracharya has highlighted in one of his scriptures, and there is only one scripture, there is another scripture called Panchadashi. Panchadashi is written by Vidyaranya, is the Advaita great philosopher. That Asparsha Yoga, they say. Asparsha Yoga in the sense, don't getting yourself attached. Everything, you don't, for everything you try to consider yourself to. If something has happened to him, then immediately you think if it happens to me. If someone has become a millionaire, then, suppose if I become a millionaire, you can't be thinking like that. So you are not into the dimension. You are not supposed to be in the dimension. You are such an elevated soul. Your soul is so beautiful. It is unaffected by all these material contacts and other things. But we still hang on to this materiality, looking about that. Vaitara Mukta Sukadukka Sangai. Because when it comes, you will be able to take equanimity, you will be able to do this like that. The Viktor Frankl, and he said, he suggested, first is, it is a de-reflection. The second, he has also given a great concept. He has given a kind of paradoxical interpretation. What is the paradoxical intuition? Paradoxical intuition is, when you say, because see, we will always have a hidden field. There is a core. Supposing, tomorrow I have been asked to set up a teach on some Telugu language or anything like that, or teach someone how to speak Telugu. Though I have been living in Hyderabad for last closer to 20 years, I don't know even a bit of Telugu. My Telugu is so awful. My grandson, mocks me at every time when I try to speak Telugu. My Telugu is so good. So I can't be speaking, but assuming I say, look, I don't know Telugu, I am very shy of it and all. I can't take it as that, because suppose a person really, I am the only person available, let us say, because he is new to Hyderabad. He wants to know a bit of Telugu and all. I should find the resources, try to get myself little and try to take him to that. It is not that, I don't know Telugu, it will never come to me. I can't take like that. I should not have a fear. So, you have got a fear of so many things. Fear of going to the doctor, fear of taking some tests. Oh, if it comes, because someone says, you come and take a COVID test. Oh, if it becomes positive, what happens? You can't be thinking like that. When you have to take a test. So to give up that fear, because the paradoxical intuition, it gives you what you fear. You are being trained to face the fear. By whom? Yourself. No one can train you unless you give yourself in and you give yourself surrender. To surrender to whom? To your own great consciousness. Huh?
Yeah.
It's coming?
Avurdu bartha.
Here also audio not there.
Yeah. I think so. It is a sort of experience.
You started saying fearing of going to the doctor.
Now the internet has go to the
Yeah, but
doctor.
see, I am not. That's why because see, I know the internet will give me problem. Despite that, we are all going through that. That itself shows that we have got the paradoxical intuition to face it. So any situation, once we are trained to face it, and there is nothing like that. And he has given it in his own. He has given two things: de-reflect. De-reflect in the sense, don't think about yourself in everything or anything. It may happen to you. It may not happen to you. It might have happened to you. Happened. Gone. Don't worry about it. Why we are always telling concentrate on the present is, when you are concentrating on the present, you don't know anything. You will not be feeling anything at all. In the concentration camp, you said.
The voice.
Yeah?
Voice.
Again?
Is it audible?
No, it's not audible. Is it audible now? Are you able to hear?
Yes, just now we are able to.
Yeah, correct. It is disconnecting and reconnecting itself. Is there a disturbance now? I think this.
We are experiencing it.
Yes, that is true. That's true.
Where is coming?
Yeah, it is coming again, I believe. Has it come again? Come again. Is it okay?
Yes.
So 3 things he suggested. We will try to complete at least this portion of it. One is de-reflection. Another is paradoxical intuition. To face whatever we fear the most. You try to face it. You try to face it squarely, and that is what he says. Because he said he saw someone by his side would have been taken for execution. He said, I was never getting affected by that. Because I trained myself. Okay, if at all happens, they will take me. But if they don't take me, whatever the few minutes that is left with me now, let me try how to face it if I am taking for execution in the concentration camp. You cannot see such a great experience, the person who has written himself being in concentration camp, than to exemplify the teachings of the Upanishad. That is the level of courage we should have. You should not get, because there is nothing to be, worried about, because you are going to face it. You are not going to run away from this world. As long as you are there in this world, you are going to face it. The last thing he suggested was Socratic dialogue. The Socratic dialogue is to question yourself and process of self-discovery. Because every time you do, see what happens, we have all got some fears, some locked up thoughts, and as well as we have got our own ambiguities. Because we don't want to, because certain things we don't understand, we leave it at that. Because why should I bother Mata buri kya karne ka? Chhod do. That's good. But then, when you have to really deal with the situation for which you have to have adequate knowledge, supposing you are going to file a case in a court, of which you don't have any intention, you have been forced to file a case, but you should try to apply yourself to the extent you are to know as a plaintiff, how you are going to fight this case. That is Socrates. You have to discover yourself. No one will come to, because a lawyer is there only to manage the niceties of the law, and he has got a black coat for which you are paying him, because he is going to the court and he can follow the niceties of the proceedings, but the law is known to all of us. But how it is going to take the course depends upon, a case is not won by the lawyer, by the client, how hardly he has worked for his case, how he has brought out the details of this case to the lawyer. Lawyer is not interested in your winning. If you don't win here, he will take you to the appeal elsewhere. That is his profession. More you are in litigation, he is there to help you. That is his job. The cases are won by the clients, not by the lawyers. This is the truth. Likewise, this is the Socratic dialogue. So for that you can't say, I don't know law, let the lawyer do whatever it is, and he will go on doing it, whatever he wants. That is why the Socratic dialogue, he said. So we have to give the Nirmana Moha, we have to have three things. One is de-reflection, another is paradoxical intuition, where we should be able to train ourselves to face, and the last thing is to have Socratic dialogue to ourselves, to find the discovery of ourselves. So this this is being used, because the Socratic dialogue is being used with the different terminologies nowadays. The cognitive behavioral therapy, they call it CBT. If someone is having a schizophrenia, or someone is having a problem of someone doesn't travel phobia, or if you have some other because you are not able to interact with the people, because there is a phobia there. All these things are being dealt with by cognitive behavioral therapy, current modern term. It is nothing but Socratic dialogue. They only talk to you, they make it to you, and sometimes they take you to your sort of a regression of your take you to the previous birth and to cure something.
Yeah.
That PLR, that is being used, for curing some of the incurable mental diseases people do carry. The schizophrenia is also like that. See, some of us may be having some small amount of mental problem, and we are not aware of that, because we are trying to overcome, with taking the life, whatever interests us and take it to us. But whereas people who constantly think about the same problem and about themselves, they get it. Schizophrenia doesn't come like that. It comes constantly, you are thinking about the problem and about yourself, how you are getting affected by that. That is why the de-reflection is very important. Don't think about yourself too much into any of the things. And the next thing is, have a paradoxical intuition. Try to face whatever you fear you can't face. Whatever be. Each one of us will have our own USP. Some issues I may be able to face. Some issues I may not be able to face. So I think I will just end this talk with a little instance. A man came to, we had one great person called Bananjay Govindacharya. All of you might be knowing. He passed away last year. One of the great scholars, outstanding scholars, and he is a Samskrita Vachaspati. So one gentleman went to him, "Sir, I think you know so many things. I want a mantra." "What mantra I want?" "So I am not able to face my wife. Why don't you give me a mantra?" He said, if you know the mantra, you tell me first, then I will tell you what it is. So for that, you don't have to, you train yourself to how to adjust yourself, and there is no other mantra for that. It is like that. The Socratic dialogue is like that. You can't say, you can't fear of, I can't deal with it. You are finding a way to deal with it, or ward off, whatever is happening. Same thing. So he said in the context of one of the Upanishads only, I think first you try to find, then you do it. It is not that, it can be, mantra can give you everything and all. Mantra is the means so that you can achieve de-reflection, paradoxical intuition, and you discover yourself and all. That is what it can do. Manana trayate mantraha. Once it gives the vibration so that you are able to get into the Adhyatma Nitya. That is what, the sloka number 5, what we were reciting, what it was in Nirmana Moha Jitasanga Dosha Adhyatma Nitya. That is what Vivivitta Kamaha. Once you take it, because it takes away all the desires, all the fears, everything. Kamaha also takes it because the fear comes out of the desire. It takes out everything. With this disjointed, disturbed talk of the day, I will try to conclude. I will not try to test your patience more than what it has happened now. I think, anyway, thank you.
Power has come back.
Thank you very much for bearing with me, all these things. I also never expected today power will go off. I was all tuned up, with everything and all. I think, of course, we have come to the point, how we will have to take the Turiya and what is required to do Turiya. Turiya is to remove our puffed up ego and have the courage to face everything and all, so that you get the direct knowledge without your sense being interpreting the way it is being conditioned by your mind. Without that, you get the direct knowledge of that. When you see a person, then what it happens, it helps you to see the goodness in that person. So once you have that, what it happens is we can't be, when we are Jivan Muktas, even during this life, we want to have that stage of Turiya to have a wonderful life for us. So that once you have that, when you don't think about yourself, when you have concern for others, as the Acharya said, Nana Janasya Shushrutuaha, when you said, And when you are trying to see every person with whatever goodness possible in him, even a 0.1% goodness will be there in everyone. Look at that. Don't look into that 99.9% what you think. It may not be bad, but based on your information, your conditionalities, you may be thinking it is bad. And no condition is a sort of very great difficulty for you. If I could manage 1 hour of power cut, I think it's not a great thing, because in African countries they are without power for years, without food for years. What is so great about it? So likewise, we have to face the life and go with the full confidence and courage. This is what the Upanishad says. With this, I will try to conclude today's session. I think thank you for bearing with me, and I think this disjointed session. And we will close with this, and perhaps next week we will have a sort of a Kanda number 3, also with a meditation, little bit highlighting the portion of Turiya which I wanted to tell, which I couldn't tell during this. Thank you very much. This today I conclude the session. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavatitamastu ma vishvidavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will not ask for your comments now. I know the comments. We have all gone through the experience today. Thank you.
No, it is very hard for you. It is very hard for you. Because the thought
Yeah.
get interrupted.
Yeah.
It's very hard for you. I know it's very hard.
No, it's a lot of strain you have taken.
Yeah.
I think by next week it should be better.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
And one suggestion to all of you: the search for meaning of life. Meaning for so there is a book available in Amazon.
We have much longer power cuts in Calcutta days.
No, because Prabhuda knows. See, I used to be
8 hours to 9
I used to be looking after the payroll and all for our entire region. Our machines used to work in the night, so we used to go to the office in the night to work and come in the morning, because they will cut the power in the the night in the house. So we will go to the office. When they cut the power in the house, we will come in. We used to work like that.
To have a good timetable, from this time to this time, for preparing your food and then for eating it.
We have seen much worse days. I think Prabhuda has reminded. It was one of the trying days in Calcutta.
Developed, because now once the power is off, people used to come and sit in front there and talk, chat and
Absolutely.
spend some time till the power comes.
Yeah.
Now because of WhatsApp, even that has gone.
This Viktor Hankel's book, Victor Hankel, Frankel, Frankl. His book is available in Amazon, or even otherwise, it's also available in the internet. You can read that. It's wonderful how a man has faced the highest. He was to lose the life any time.
Ramchandra and I will take leave. No,
Oh, sure.
Say hello. See you next week.
Okay, welcome. All the best.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We will meet again next week.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.